going on, chat, man? I'm back, and today we're reacting to Michael Jordan if he retired only once. I ain't gonna lie, this seems like a crazy video because, you know, Michael Jordan retired like 3 times, right? I believe, chat. Correct me if I'm wrong. He retired like 3 times, bro. So if bro only retired once, and play straight up, that might be even more of a crazy career, bro. It might be 10 rings. I ain't gonna lie. But if y'all new to the channel and enjoy this type of content, you know, hit that subscribe button, man, and join the crew. But hey, let's get straight to it, man. I'm excited. Yes, sir. Kelby. Shoot that bit like Kelby.
Michael Jordan is widely recognized as the greatest icon in basketball history. Naturally, surrounding his legacy is a series of major what-ifs. One of the biggest reasons for this is not because of his popularity alone, but it's because he did something that very few players ever do. He retired from the game of basketball on 3 separate occasions. Due to this, people are left to wonder what Michael Jordan's Bulls
that's how he go, bro, because he really wanted to retire, but then he wanted to come back, and he did dominate, and then he left, and he came back, went crazy, then he left. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Won 8 straight championships if he never retired in 1993 to go play baseball. People wonder if MJ could have defeated the San Antonio Spurs in the 1999 finals. And lastly, people assume that Michael Jordan would be the NBA's all-time scoring leader if he never took all of those breaks. But just how accurate are some of those assumptions? Obviously, I don't have a crystal ball, and there's no way we can say for certain how things would have gone. But with that being said, we do have a lot of information and data that can lead us to make some educated guesses on how this all would have panned out. So sit back and enjoy as I break down what history could have looked like if Michael Jordan only retired from the game of basketball just once. First off, Michael Jordan entered the NBA at the age of 21 in 1984, and he didn't leave the game for the final time until he was 40 years old in 2003.
Okay.
So in this scenario, this will be the length of his completed career, which will be a grand total of 19 seasons in the NBA. Now let's start by looking at his first retirement in 1993. MJ's Bulls were coming off of their 3rd straight championship victory, and surrounding that 3rd run was controversy about Jordan's gambling habits. And then that was soon followed up by the tragic passing of his father. MJ talked about the fact that he was physically and mentally tired, and in honor of his father, he decided to pursue another dream, and that was to play baseball. If he didn't make that decision, then he likely would have been a part of the deepest Bulls roster that they've ever had, as the organization added quality pieces like Steve Kerr, Tony Kukoc, and Luke Longley, while keeping all of their starters from the previous three-peat. Despite insane seasonal averages, Jordan only finished 3rd in the MVP race in the 1993 season, and a lot of people believe that this was a result of voter fatigue, since MJ had won the 2 MVP awards prior to that.
It is voter fatigue, bro. Sometimes they don't want to see you win so much, bro. I feel like Jordan could have had 15 MVPs if they really wanted to give it to him, bro.
In reality, the 93-94 Chicago Bulls won 55 regular season games without Michael Jordan. Now with him in the lineup, I think it's fair to assume that they're winning at least 65 games. And with Jordan coming off of a season where he was held back by voter fatigue, I think he would have easily won the League MVP award in 1994. The 1994 NBA Finals would have been a colossal battle between Jordan's Bulls and Hakeem Olajuwon's Rockets. Although Hakeem was a difficult matchup for the Bulls, I still think Chicago easily prevails in this scenario, since it's the deepest team that they've ever had.
Jordan has a flow state, chat. When he hits that certain flow state, bro, like, that's why me and Jordan relate so much, bro, because when we both get into this, like, you know what I'm saying, that flow state in the, you know, the game of basketball, you know what I'm saying, the game of basketball, we get into that flow state, bro, no one is dropping us off, bro. Like, come on, bro, we're not missing no shots, bro. We are straight BTA, bro. Come on.
And that Rockets team went to 7 hard-fought games with the New York Knicks. and this hypothetical Bulls team would have been way more
Damn.
formidable than those Knicks. So as things stand in this what-if scenario so far,
Get this podcast off for Jordan, bro. This is a podcaster, man. I know, you know what I'm saying, he's an NBA basketball player, but come on, in this situation, bro, he's a podcaster, bro. Come on, Jordan's about to sweep these guys, you know what I'm saying? Take them to the championship, and he's gonna win what? This is his 4th ring at this time, if he would.
Jordan would have won an additional league MVP award, an additional championship, and an additional Finals MVP award. So now let's look at the 94-95 season. In reality, you all remember how this was the season where Jordan came back to the NBA after a stint in baseball, where he only played in 17 games of the NBA's regular season. Although Jordan was still lethal, he was not performing up to his usual standards, since he was still in his baseball shape. Now with a full season where he never left the game of basketball, Jordan is almost certainly performing at a higher level throughout. With that being said, this still would have been a tougher season on Chicago, because the general wear and tear of 4 straight seasons playing into June would have been taking its toll physically. Plus,
For real? For real? But like, you're getting sleep and you're resting, and you're like, you know what I'm saying? Like, how is it gonna take a tear though? Okay.
this was the season where Horace Grant left in free agency to join the Orlando Magic. If we assume that Grant still leaves in free agency for that massive Orlando contract, then the Bulls are now lacking his inside production on the offensive end, and they're also lacking his interior defense on the other end. I broke this all down in detail in a previous video, but in short, I think the Bulls lose in the finals in 1995. Jordan also doesn't win a league MVP this season, since voter fatigue would re-enter the situation, and David Robinson would still be a strong candidate as the leader of the 62-win San Antonio Spurs. So now we assume that the 96, 97, and 98 season plays out exactly how it did before, as MJ added yet another three-peat and several more MVP trophies. Now, as we all can recall, in reality, Jordan retired for a second time at the end of the 1998 season, and the reason for this was
I think that's aura, bro. I think he retired for the aura, because he still liked basketball at that time, bro. Bro retired, then came back to the game, but he wanted to retire after that championship. That is some fire stuff, bro. Like, that's something I do in my career, bro. You know what I'm saying?
because the Bulls general manager Jerry Krause fired Phil Jackson, regardless of the fact that he just led them to 3 straight titles.
That makes no sense. That's some hater vibes, bro. Why would he do that?
In Jordan's own words, he was unwilling to play for Chicago if they had any other coach other than Phil Jackson. But if MJ didn't have this mindset and decided to stay for a chance at another ring without Jackson, how would that have played out? Well, not terribly well, in my opinion. At this point, the age of the Bulls core was beginning to show, as MJ would be 36, Scottie Pippen would be 33, and then Dennis Rodman would have been 37. Also consider how the lack of Jackson's leadership on the bench and in the locker room would affect this team. Phil was instrumental in managing the egos of this squad, and managing the relationship between the players and the executives. All of this pressure and responsibility would have now fell on their rookie head coach, Tim Floyd, who was not suited to manage those players, especially in the case of Dennis Rodman, who in reality did have an epic fallout with the Lakers in the 1999 season. Even with all of these issues, there's still a chance that the Bulls make it to the NBA Finals in 1999, since the Eastern Conference was not all that strong that season, considering how the 8th-seeded New York Knicks was the team that ended up representing the East. But if the Bulls did make it to the Finals in 1999, I have a hard time seeing them as a tired and older squad without Jackson getting past a powerful San Antonio Spurs team, who were strongest where the Bulls were at their weakest, which was the painted area. Ultimately, I think the Bulls would have fallen way short of the championship and
I ain't gonna lie, they probably would have lost hella aura, bro, if they did play, bro. Yeah, sheesh.
1999. But it is Michael Jordan we're talking about, so you can never write him off completely. After the 98 to 99 season is where things get really weird and become basically impossible to predict. By that year, Rodman was a shell of his former self, and would only play 12 games of the regular season before his retirement. Although Scottie Pippen was still competitive, he was reduced to a 12 points per game role player rather than a 20 points per game sidekick. If Jordan was to remain with the Bulls for the 2000 and 2001 season, I think it's fair to assume that Jerry Krause would have tried to retool the team and make some major trades to give MJ a contending supporting cast. But given the age and the physical shape of the assets, I kind of doubt that he could have pulled that off. Plus, this was the era of the Shaq and Kobe dynasty, so there's no realistic way that we can expect the Bulls to compete with that Los Angeles three-peat squad. Then
the Lakers would have whooped them, I ain't gonna lie. Yeah.
MJ does his couple seasons in Washington, and his career is all wrapped up in the summer of 2003. So at the end of Michael's career, if he had never retired, he would have had 7 championship rings instead of 6. He would have had 7 finals MVPs instead of 6, and he would have had 6 league MVPs instead of 5, tying him with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for the most in NBA history. He would also have a 7 out of 9 NBA Finals record.
I'd rather go 6 for 6. Nah. Yeah, I'd rather go 6 for 6. I'd rather go 6 for 6. 7 for 9 seems lame now. See, that encourages losing. 6 for 6 just shows you a winner, bro.
Which certainly isn't as clean as 6-0,
Facts.
but it is more success overall. But what about his scoring records? Because that's a lot more time in the NBA. Well, in reality, at the end of Jordan's career, he had a grand total of 32,292 points, which currently has him in the 5th spot on the NBA's all-time scoring list.
Bro, Jordan is 5th and he didn't even play as much as the guys in the top 5. That is actually so impressive, bro. The fact that this guy is that good at scoring, if he played longer, he would have had the most points ever.
So let's get started by trying to estimate what Jordan would average in his first 2 seasons after his retirement. First, we need to subtract Jordan's 457 points in his 1995 season from his grand total, since he will instead be playing in the entire season. Well, in the 4 years that Michael Jordan was playing in the triangle offense leading up to his first retirement, he was averaging 2,569 points per season. Considering his age at the time, I think it's fair to assume that MJ would have maintained this pace in 1994 and in 1995, which means that we need to add 5,138 points to his career total.
Okay.
That gives him 36,973. Now we need to add the 99, 2000, and 2001 season. In his 3 seasons leading up to 1999, Jordan was playing all 82 games, while his points per game averages continued to decrease by just under 1 point per season. If we assumed that this trend would continue and adjust for his lockout-shortened 1999 season, then he would have theoretically scored another 5,728 points over that 3-season stretch, which now brings his grand total to 42,701 points. This would make him the all-time leading scorer ahead of LeBron James.
Yeah, I knew it, bro. I literally knew it, bro. I knew it.
Although LeBron could still potentially catch Jordan, depending on how long he's willing to play. When you consider the fact that MJ played 3 seasons in college, while LeBron entered the NBA straight out of high school, it really gives you some perspective on just how insane Jordan's scoring
that shows you how insane of a scorer this guy was, bro.
Actually was. So at the end of the day, 7 championships, 7 finals MVPs, 6 league MVPs, 11 first team all-defensive selections, the NBA's all-time leading scorer, and most people would be calling him the GOAT. So I guess not much really changes on that front. So what do you guys think? How would Jordan's career have played out if he had only retired once? I look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comment section below. Thanks for watching as always.
Chat, I ain't gonna lie, this video was very crazy. Like, this video made me realize that Jordan's a way better scorer than we actually think he is, bro. The fact that bro actually would have had the most points ever just shows you again and again that this guy is the GOAT, bro. I ain't even gonna lie. He is the GOAT. But, you know, chat, this is the end of the video, man. So make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and recommend me some more bangers, man. Because this was an absolute banger, bro. But, hey, with that being said, I'll catch y'all next time. Yes, sir.